All right, Buck fans, welcome in. Division title clinched, Carolina style. Little Carolina barbecue. A 9-0 division title winning game for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Welcome into the No Quarter Given podcast. I'm your host, Jason, along with Peter Blake. Welcome in, Peter.
What's going on, buddy? How you doing?
Well, it was ugly. It wasn't the prettiest game to watch on Sunday in Carolina, but the Buccaneers found a way to get it done. Good defensive effort. Offense was very sporadic, and we'll talk about. We'll get into some of the notes and news and notes of the game, and then. But we draw the Philadelphia Eagles, our sixth time that we will face the Eagles come playoff time. This Monday night of all nights, not another Monday night wild card game, just like last year with the Dallas Cowboys. So we'll see if we can get a little bit better result on Monday night playoff game number 2 in Raymond James Stadium.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that they did it on Monday night after the showing of the Bucks. We were talking about that, but I kind of told you a couple of weeks ago I was kind of thinking it was going to be the Philadelphia Eagles the way they played lately. I mean, losers of 5 of 6. They started out 10-1. Who knows what the heck is going on with them? Jalen Hurts banged up, A.J. Brown banged up, Devontae Smith banged up. So maybe the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are winners of 5 of 6, are catching this team at the right time.
Well, you make a good point. Phillies have lost 5 out of 6. The big injury last week for the Eagles in their loss to the Giants was A.J. Brown. Had a knee injury. We don't know what his status is as of this recording. Devontae Smith didn't play last week with an ankle injury. You saw Jalen Hurts' finger get dislocated in the game. That will probably be an issue to some degree with his grip of the ball and accuracy and all that. But the Eagles come in at 11-6. Our Tampa Bay Buccaneers come into the game 9-8. Again, not a very good defensively. They were excellent, but not a very good offensive performance in Carolina. We know with 9-0 W. We know Baker Mayfield was a little banged up with the ribs, but then he had an ankle issue early in the game. He missed a couple of big throws guys were wide open and just not play very well on offense. Your concern level following the 9-0 game, especially at the offensive side of the ball?
Somewhat concerned because you kind of wonder Baker's 100%. And, of course, no football player at this time is 100%. But, how are the ribs feeling? What's the knee like? What's the ankle like? I mean, is he going to be limping? Even when he was limping, was able to convert a big-time third down. Can he make all the throws? I really believe that Carolina's a better defense than Philadelphia, although – they only had 40 sacks this year. They're very talented up front. But if you can get the necessary time, which is what this Bucs team needs to protect Baker on Monday night, you can expose that matchup in the back end with, of course, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin.
Well, my question is, can you? Because can Baker Mayfield be accurate enough to get the ball there? Because there were guys open Sunday in Carolina. Mike Evans is running wide open for a touchdown. Baker underthrows it mightily again by 2 or 3 yards. He doesn't hit Rashad White is wide open on a little angle route up the seam, doesn't throw it to him. You heard Baker in the press conference today, the Wednesday press conference, talk about make the makeable completions. Got to take with them the makeable completions, and he's really struggled in the last 2 weeks doing that.
He really has, and whether it's health or whether it's, trying to do too much and force it in those small windows, and you're exactly right. We could sit here and make all the excuses you want to, but right now it's a new season. And you're going to have to play better football than 9-0 versus the worst team in the National Football League. So you got to get that done. And then furthermore, I feel like the offensive game calling or game planning has to be, get Baker confident. Get him with some, quick throws there. Get rid of the ball. No long developing routes or none of him, trying to hold the ball in the pocket, because if he takes 1 or 2 hits, you feel like he may be out of the game or he may be hindered. So he definitely didn't look like himself versus Carolina. He hasn't looked great versus the Saints. You kind of wonder what the health situation is, but hopefully they can get it settled. And I think it starts once again with that offensive line, keeping the pressure off of him. And then furthermore, Dave Canales with the play calling, set up Baker to succeed instead of failing.
Again, I think was it the best play called game in the world? Who knows? Again, I think Baker got in his head last week. I'm going to try to do too much. I want to stick it to Carolina. When Baker will just play calm, Sometimes he gets too much of a chip on his shoulder, and he
He's kind
thinks
of
he's
like
got to.
Jameis Winston, right? I mean, you kind of get the same notion of Jameis Winston. You get so excited at the beginning of the game. You have these slow starts. He's kind of like Winston in that, he's trying to do too much. He's got this chip on his shoulder, and you appreciate that. You appreciate his competitive fire. But like you said, you want him to work within the offense. And when he does that, he's so much of a better quarterback. So put all that crap aside.
Put the
Just go
chip on the ground. Just go be competitive.
just go be the quarterback that we think you can be, which is 28 touchdowns and 10 interceptions. Hopefully, no turnovers, because you got to win the turnover battle in order to win a playoff game at the end of it. So, yeah, I'm hoping that he can play good Baker, not bad Baker, because when he's bad Baker, this offense is definitely different. You got to figure out how to get Mike Evans and Chris Godwin involved early in the game.
Yep.
Damn it, can somebody score a touchdown on the opening drive? The Bucs weren't able to do that during the regular season. Can they do it on Monday night versus the Philadelphia Eagles at Raymond James Stadium? Please.
Couple stats from the Carolina game. There wasn't a whole lot to talk about. We're just going to mention a couple things. Rachaad White, 19 carries, 75 yards. A good bit of that was late in the game, which that was the one encouraging thing. They were able to run the clock out the last 4 or 5 minutes, which that was encouraging. 19 for 75. Chase McLaughlin, again, another huge performance, 3 field goals, 150 plus. Again, he's been a rock. If it wasn't for Brandon Aubrey in Dallas, he'd be the Pro Bowl kicker for the NFC, no doubt. 3 sacks for the defense, and maybe the defensive play of the year with Antoine Winfield. Because if that game gets to 7-0 Carolina, I'm not sure the Bucs can score 2 times to win that game with how the offense was playing.
I'm not sure either. And it's a big play, and we've seen it all year round. We've seen it in the Atlanta game. We saw it in New Orleans with him making a big-time play, which changes the momentum of it. I mean, he does it all. I don't know what Winfield Jr. has to do to prove himself as not only a Pro Bowler, but by the way, the NFL Players Association passed him as an all-pro. Like, what are you watching and looking at? This guy has done it all. He's not only, both of those, he not only deserves both of those awards, but he also deserves consideration for Defensive Player of the Year. Because if you don't have Winfield Jr. on this Bucs defense, I can't imagine how good they would be. And he does it all. He sacks. He forces fumbles. He tackles. He makes interceptions. And, of course, in this game, just like the Atlanta Falcon game, he doesn't give up on the play when the play seems like it's done.
That's it. The great effort play there. And again, the Chark was running down the sidelines, and Winfield comes from the middle of the field, makes a tremendous play, strips the ball from Chark. Jamel Dean recovers. The other big play in the game, give JTS credit. Nice strip sack, great strip sack in the drive they were driving. Strip sacks Bryce Young. Bucs recover the fumble, thwart another drive, and then the Bucs get a little lucky at the end, up 9-0. Carolina rips off about a 30-yard touchdown, and we got illegal formation on Carolina in Week 18 of the NFL season.
And, Jason, that's the reason why they're a 2-win team, because they can't get out of their way. 1 step forward and 2 steps back, and that was a big-time play that could have changed it. And you look at those and you say, well, the Bucs lucky? Yeah, to a certain degree, but are the Carolina Panthers bad? Yeah, that's the reason why they're the worst team in the National Football League. That is the exact reason right there.
Well, Buck fans, we're not going to have a montage this week. Again, this No Quarter Given, part of the BuckPower.com podcast network. Go to BuckPower.com for all of your Buccaneer history, stats, anything related to playoffs, all that stuff, BuckPower.com. No montage this week. If you want to go listen to Paul's montage of the Eagles, go back to our Week 3 archived episode when we played the Philadelphia Eagles. That's on there. Peter, we lose in Week 3 to the Eagles 25-11. The Bucs, and again, we're going to get to that game in a second. We're going to talk to David Moulton, ESPN Monday Night, part of the ESPN Monday Night Football crew. David works with Buck and Aikman. He's up in the booth with him every week. I had a conversation with him earlier in the week about the Philadelphia Bucs game. He gave some great details, some great news and nuggets that I think you will very much appreciate, Buck fans, and some very good analysis of, again, he's seen this Philadelphia team play a couple times in person. He was in the booth for the game Week 3. He'll give you some good insight there. So David Moulton, he also is a Sirius XM NFL radio host as well. So he does a lot of great stuff, and he also hosts his own radio show here in the state of Florida, Miller and Moulton, Monday through Friday. So again, this guy's dialed into the stuff around the league, and he knows his stuff. So you'll enjoy my chat with David Moulton. But before we get to David, give me a did you appreciate you heard the Baker chants as Baker's walking off the field. The couple good things about this game. I don't think there was any injury issues. I think guys got out of the game pretty healthy. I don't think we lost anybody injury-wise, so that is key. Impressed with the defense. Carlton Davis, Jamel, the back end played well. The front floor played okay, and the linebackers, Devin White, starting to get back in the flow of things. I like it. I'm a little more excited about what I'm seeing out of Devin White.
And I also like Yaya Diaby. I mean, Yaya Diaby leading, this team with 7.5 sacks. I didn't necessarily expect that, but I did tell you that if he got the opportunity, he would do some big things, and he's already done it. I'm excited about the future. I'm excited about the now because you have this kid. You have JTS as a rotational player when he comes in for a Shaq Barrett, getting and contributing, and you also have Kalijah Cansey. So to talk about the defense, I've been very critical on this defense. They showed out on Sunday, and if you don't have that unit playing the way they did, you probably don't beat the Panthers.
And you heard Tristan Wirfs post-game saying, hey, defense, y'all saved us today. We got to be better. Again, this is going to be a game we're going to talk about with Philadelphia. The Bucs got to score 20-plus to win this game. They're not going to win 17-13. I don't think it's good. I know the Eagles are not playing good, but this is a golden opportunity for the Bucs to get 24 to 30 points against this porous Philadelphia defense.
Agree. Completely agree.
All right. Again, Bucs finished 9-8, win the NFC South. New Orleans beats Atlanta. We saw Arthur Smith get fired. Give me a thought on the clownish behavior out of New Orleans and Jameis Winston with the whole victory formation, and they run it in the end zone.
Dennis Allen doesn't have any control over that locker room. That's what that told me. That told me that the players are running that locker room, which is not always a good thing, that Jameis Winston wanted to do whatever he wanted to do. Yes, he may be a great teammate. Yes, he may have wanted to get Jamal Williams a touchdown. But if your coach says, kneel down and you're in the victory formation, why are you trying to trick the other team? You could injure the defense, and people go, well, you played to the whistle. They were going in victory formation. The defense didn't know it. There was no.
It's a clownish move, bro. It's a Bush League move.
Yep, it's selfish. It's a selfish move by Winston. It's not surprising. He's been like this. Again, I get it. He's trying to be a great teammate. Now, would I cut him like Shannon Sharp said? No, but I definitely think there's a problem with that locker room and Dennis Allen, and I don't know why Allen still has a job at this point. In fact, I hear there's rumors that Allen wants to bring in a John Gruden as a coach. Now, first and foremost, if Gruden comes into that building, you've got to know that if you bring him in there, he's most likely going to take your job eventually because he does have some type of relationship with Derek Carr. But would the NFL allow that to happen, Jason Powers, in your opinion?
I don't think there's anything the NFL can do to prevent it. If New Orleans wanted to hire him, I don't think there's anything that's prohibiting the New Orleans Saints or any other team for hiring John Gruden if they wanted to hire John Gruden.
Wow.
There's not a, he's gotten his money from the Raiders. He's gotten his money. Now, again, ethically or morally, do you want to hire him for allegedly for some of the things that came out? Who knows? But I don't think there's any mandate that you can't hire the guy.
Does the guy work in the league anymore? Would the players respect him? Would he work out and help out a Derek Carr, who's had a previous relationship with?
We've seen plenty of guys in the NFL and in the coaching world get jobs for doing some pretty lousy things off the field.
Yeah.
Sure. It's just the facts.
Am I surprised with Arthur Smith getting fired? No, not at all.
Yeah.
I don't know who the next coach is going to be. Maybe it's Kirby Smart. There's talk of
that
possibly happening. Would they overpay for a college coach? Because that doesn't always work out. But Smart's a pretty smart guy.
If he's going to overpay, it's going to be Jim Harbaugh.
Well, I think he goes to the Raiders. I predicted that. And by the way, I took Michigan in that game. If you saw the video there, I'm sorry, man. I know you had a little bet out there for Alabama.
Not really. Yeah, you're good. It's all good, man.
I took Michigan to win it all. They won it all, and then I thought Jim Harbaugh was going to go off into the sunset.
We'll know Jim Harbaugh's status, I would say, by Monday of next week. I think he's going to, whenever Michigan has their parade or their celebration back in Ann Arbor, I think once that's done, which probably will be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, maybe at the latest, I think by Monday it'll be hot and heavy about where we're going. Plenty of stuff going on in the coaching world. Pete Carroll steps down, Arthur Smith, Ron Rivera, obviously the Nick Saban news on the college front. So Mike Vrabel's out in Tennessee. So there's going to be some heavyweights, and we still haven't heard about New England yet. So there are going to be some heavyweight hires here in the next 4 to 5 days, I think.
Jim Harbaugh, the new Raiders coach. Mark it down, my friend.
No Antonio Pierce.
No. Mark Davis, listen, Mark Davis has done this in the past. If he wanted to do it, he would have hired who? He would have kept the coach that was there.
Bisaccia, our guy, Bisaccia.
Bisaccia, yeah. He would have kept him as the coach after he led that team. Mark Davis wants the big name guy. He's going to overpay for it. Jim Harbaugh wants to leave Michigan. The best opportunity is for him to have the number one overall pick, not the number one overall pick, but a first-round pick to get his own quarterback there.
Do you not want to go to the Chargers and have Herbert ready-made?
I think he has a relationship with Mark Davis. And then furthermore, you also remember that Tom Brady is a part of that organization.
Yeah, I got it.
From Michigan. I was thinking the other day, I was like, no. Could it happen? Could Jim Harbaugh actually get Tom Brady to come out of retirement?
No, come on.
But I'm just saying.
Peter, come on, buddy.
Brady was saying it the other day. He nearly came out of retirement again. He nearly came out. He was saying it on his Instagram, and then he had a going away party. They're both Michigan guys. I think
that could be the clinching the relationship. And again, Jim Harbaugh, for those of you that don't know, he had a relationship with Al Davis, Mark's dad. He coached for the Raiders way back in the days, like a quarterback's coach 1 year, but he also has connection with the Chargers. He played for the Chargers. He coached at the University of San Diego. He knows those owners, the Spanos. So, and Justin Herbert's ready-made. They got a team. You get a good coach and with the Chargers, with all that talent, and Justin Herbert, that could be a 1 year turnaround in an AFC title game kind of scenario.
Bill Belichick with the Chargers.
Woo. We'll see. It looks like the era of the old coach. You got Pete Carroll out. You got Nick Saban out. Bill Belichick's the same age. I mean, he's probably going to lose his job in New England. But he'll be somewhere. If he wants to coach somewhere and he gets fired, he'll get a job. But it'll be very interesting to see what they how that situation unfolds. All right, Peter.
To Atlanta or because there was talk that they may give up a first-round pick.
They're not giving up. Atlanta needs players.
I mean, would Atlanta do that? Would that be that desperate to give up a first-round pick for Belichick?
No, they're going because Kraft's going to fire him. They're not giving up a first-round pick for Bill Belichick. Are you crazy?
Have they fired him yet?
No, but it's coming. It's coming. Don't worry.
May trade him.
They might, but they're not getting a first-round pick for the guy. They might get a third-round pick for him.
I mean, if Atlanta's willing to give me a first-round pick, you're not.
But they ain't willing. No, they got to save their first-round pick for Justin Fields if they try to make a move there.
Right. So I think Fields stays in Chicago.
All right, Buck fans. Okay, we gave you some coaching talk around the league. We're going to be back in just a couple of minutes. You're going to listen to hear my conversation with David Moulton, Sirius XM, ESPN Monday Night Football crew. He's going to talk specifically all Bucks Eagles rematch number 2 in Tampa Monday night. Be there, be square. Peter Blake will be there in the press box. It'll be a playoff game, so I'm sure the spread will be even better. 4 plate minimum for Peter. He'll get there about 11 o'clock in the morning. He'll try to have lunch, brunch, mid-afternoon snack, dinner, dessert, post-game, and whatever else comes with a Bucks victory on Monday night. And he'll head straight down Dale Mabry to the shiny lights right by Raymond James Stadium for the post-game party.
With you guiding me there. All
right, we'll be back in just a couple of minutes. David Moulton in my conversation, Bucks Eagles. We'll be back in just a few minutes, okay? All right, Buck fans, welcome back. No Quarter Given podcast, part of the BuckPower.com podcast network. I'm Jason, along with Peter. We've just you just heard from David Moulton, giving us some good nuggets about the Eagles side of things, injury issues potentially. You got he made a bold prediction. Potentially Nick Sirianni gets fired.
Wow.
If they lose the game Monday night, how about that?
Mm.
I mean,
what have you done for me lately? You're like the talk of the town, and then all of a sudden you're fired. And Dan Graziano of ESPN mentioned this today that, Doug Peterson won a Super Bowl and they fired him a couple years later. So is anybody safe? And you look at the expectations of this team. You just re-signed Jalen Hurts to a big-time contract. You were 10-1 and you lost 5 out of 6 and you have no answer for it. It has not gotten better, especially defensively. So again, I go back to it as I was talking about this at the beginning of the show. Maybe the Bucs have caught the Eagles at the right time. Maybe it's revenge time.
Oh, it's no doubt you're catching them at the right time. Internal strife with the coaching staff and the players. It seems like there's issues in the locker room, not an offensive identity. You got injuries. This is a golden opportunity for the Buccaneers. They're 3-point underdogs. A lot of people think in Vegas that's not a good number if you're a Philadelphia fan. I mean, this is a great opportunity for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Let me ask you this, Peter Blake. I don't want to bring up I don't want to bring up a bad scenario, but we talk about good and the bad.
Sure.
Is there any chance with all the candidates that are out there, if the Bucs get blown out Monday night, that there could be a potential where the Glazers could pull the plug on Todd Bowles?
No, I think he saved his job. I think he's done enough. He's won 2 straight NFC South titles. He's proven himself when this team has been, they had their backs against the wall. You win in Green Bay. You win in Atlanta. You win against Jacksonville. That 4-game winning streak, I think, survived. And you see the hug and the embrace in Green Bay when they win that game. It definitely, like, the Glazers still really like Todd Bowles and they respect what he did. And then plus on top of it, that locker room plays for him. They have not given up, even though they have slow starts and sometimes lack of urgency, and they look flat on some occasions. They have still played for this man. I think Todd Bowles is safe.
All right, I'm with you too, but the Glazers like to go big game hunting too. Now we've seen the past; they're not afraid to go big game hunting.
Are you saying Bill Belichick? Or are you saying Jim Harbaugh?
No, I'm just. I don't think Bill Belichick would be in the mix, but it wouldn't. If they were to ever make a move, it would be for a big offensive guy. I mean, I don't think they'd fire because Jason Light's not getting fired. I mean, and again, I don't know if Light has a relationship with Jim Harbaugh. Who knows? I think it would be for an offensive guy if they were going to ever make a move, especially if they got blown out in a playoff game like this. But I'm with you. I think he's safe. I think all's good. What if Baker Mayfield doesn't play well Monday night?
I still think he's gaining an extension. Even though he doesn't play well, you look at the numbers overall. Over 4,000 yards passing, 28 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. You eclipsed Tom Brady from last year. I think he's definitely going to get an extension. I think it could be in the neighborhood of 3 years and $75 million, much like Geno Smith, where it's about $24 or $25 million a year. I think it's something like that. And if and only if you're in position to draft a quarterback, which I don't think you are, maybe they take a flyer on it. Because for me, with not even 100% Baker, they still didn't play Kyle Trask. So that tells me everything you need to know. You had every opportunity in the last couple of games here to play Kyle Trask. You didn't play him. You don't have the confidence in him. I feel like they're going to turn the page eventually on Trask, go with another quarterback, whether it's in the second or third round. I don't see a quarterback, dropping in the first round where they take it. They got other needs too. Maybe a corner, maybe an interior line. So to answer your question, I think Baker earns an extension at this point, and they figure out the rest of the quarterback situation next year.
All right, let's look at the Eagles. Bucs lose 25-11 in week 3. If you again watching the game back in week 3, totally 2 different teams. We get it.
Yep.
But Philadelphia manhandled the Buccaneers. That was a slow death. I mean, there was at no point in that game did you really think the Buccaneers were going to win the game. They got out physical. They got that offensive line. To me, that's the key to the game. You got to be able to find a way to play even against that Philadelphia offensive line, because that's the one way that they can win this game in an ugly fashion, is run the ball 25, 30 times with Swift, with Gainwell, with a little Jalen Hurts, because they're going to be depleted. They're going to be banged up at wide receiver. Even if A.J. Brown plays, he's not going to be 100%. Devontae Smith's got an ankle injury, so they're not going to be throwing the ball like they were last year in the beginning of the year. So this is going to be a run-heavy game, I think, for the Philadelphia Eagles, especially initially. Just give me your general thoughts going into the game Monday night.
Yeah, I mean, they rush for over 200 yards, so that's unacceptable for a Bucs defense. So you're going to have to definitely stop them. Hopefully, Devin White is healthier than he was at that time, because even when he had an interception, he looked like he pulled a hamstring or something like that. Hopefully, he's over that. You just can't give up that many yards on the ground, especially versus a Swift. And you're exactly right. You have to be more physical because it may be raining. So it may be an ugly game where you have to run the ball and whoever dominates the line of scrimmage, it may be that type of thing. And we'll see if the Bucs can pull that off. But I agree with you. And then on top of it, you were thinking about this. Who did you have on A.J. Brown the first matchup? I don't believe you had Carlton Davis. You got Carlton Davis. You
Right.
got Noel Dean. You're fully healthy in that back end. It's time for the Gravedigger defense to show up. Let's make it happen, boys, on Monday night.
Yeah, and I think the key to the game for the Buccaneers, they got to pass the ball. I think they come out. You need to go after this secondary. This secondary and this defense is not good. I know we want to establish the run, but every time we run the ball, you give that defense one more opportunity to not have to play defense a whole lot. Now I get it; they're not great against the run either, but they've got a good front four. Yeah, I think you got to throw the ball, get the lead, make the Eagles have to come from behind. Your point is get it, score early in that first quarter. Whether it's the first drive, get the lead. I think this is an opportunity. Chris and Mike against Slay and against Bradbury, advantage Buccaneers.
Yeah, absolutely, especially with Evans and Bradbury, which has been, a matchup of Bradbury, not the same player, Evans still the same player. I'm looking forward to that match, and I'm looking for Evans to have a big game. And don't lose
Trey
focus.
Palmer.
Yes, but don't lose focus. Don't be going to Palmer and Otten. Don't lose focus of Chris Godwin, because when Chris Godwin has been a focus of this offense, because if they bracket coverage towards Evans and they're double covering him, look for Chris Godwin to have also a big game.
Yep.
And both of these receivers can do that versus this very susceptible secondary. This is why you have to be excited if you're a Bucs fan against the Eagles on Monday night.
And David Moulton, just before we started talking again, he loves the matchup. Godwin against Bradbury. He thinks Slay will probably stay on Evans most of the time. Godwin and Bradbury is the matchup he loves for the Buccaneers. He predicts Godwin over 100 yards, 7 or 8 catches, and a touchdown. That's the matchup to go after if you're the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, James Bradbury, because he not the most fleet of foot anymore, and he is absolutely the weak link back there in the secondary for sure. It's Slay's getting older too. You'll be able to get Evans with some opportunity there, but he loves the matchup with Bradbury and Chris Godwin.
He's playing like Ray Bradbury. That's an old school reference there. So we'll see how that goes with Godwin, and I'm loving the matchup also. I think that's where you got to go. You got to get both of your playmakers involved. And look, the sky's the limit. Yeah, they did get mostly dominated in that Week 3 matchup, but you did see some flashes of brilliance in that fourth quarter, and I don't know why. I don't know why it takes this team so long when they have their backs against the wall. And they got to come out again and not be flat. This is the playoffs. There's no turning back. This is it.
No, they had their flat game against New Orleans. They weren't much. The defense was much better against Carolina. This is where the offense has got to step up. And Dave Canales, do you want to be thought of as a innovative offensive coordinator? You want to be thought of a potential head coaching candidate? Probably not this year, but next year. You better have a game plan that can score 24 to 28 points in this game.
Great.
All right, Peter Blake, give me a prediction here. Monday night, 8 o'clock, ESPN, the last game of Wild Card Weekend, 2 years in a row. It's not just Wild Card Weekend; it's Super Wild Card Weekend, apparently. And by the way, give me a thought on what is your thought on the game being on Peacock? Kansas City, Miami on Peacock.
Well, I got Peacock because I got WWE Network, and by the way, I've given you access to Peacock, so you'll be able to see the game. That's what tag team partners of the world do. I don't know. I think it's the evolution, honestly.
The money grab, $100 million money grab for the NFL, man.
I mean,
Come on.
It's where the future is going. Amazon Prime, you already have that. What's next? You're going to pay for it any way it goes eventually. So is it disappointing? Yeah, but it's where the NFL is. This is where we're at. You're paying for the game. If you don't have it, you better pay for the subscription. It's $5. I think like $10 without ads, something along the line. So
they shouldn't be screwing the fan in the playoffs. If it's a regular season package, I get it. But in the playoffs, everybody who has normal cable, ESPN, and public TV should not be having to pay to see a playoff game.
I agree. I completely agree. But again, it's a sign of the future. Am I surprised by it? No, because the NFL is all about the bottom line.
So. All right, give me a score.
I'm going to go 28-17 Tampa Bay over the Philadelphia Eagles.
Sixth meeting for the Bucks. Remember, the Bucks beat the Eagles a couple of years ago in the wild card game in Raymond James. I was there. They destroyed Jalen Hurts, Tom Brady. I think it was 31-7 final. That game was really never in doubt. I was in the building in the end zone with my man David Cates. And I know, I'm working on trying to. Can you get me a ticket, bro? You got connections over there. Can you hook a brother up and get a brother a ticket, man? You're gonna make me have to go buy a ticket?
Me and you
Man,
need to press box together. We do the No Quarter Given podcast here on the BuckPower.com network. Yeah, we need to get you in there. We need to get you in there somehow. That's our goal for 2020.
I'm working on it.
Get Jason in the press box so he can eat as many plates as I eat on any given
Sunday. I don't even need to be in the press box. Just get me in the building for the game Monday night. Yeah, that's all. I don't even. The press box. I'll let you eat my plate for me.
Listen, you're in the press box. You can go down with me and JP Peterson and help me, set up.
I'll carry your cords. How about that?
Carry my cords and all my equipment. There you
go. Give me a pass. Okay. All right. I'm going Bucks 27, Eagles 20. Again, Baker. I think Baker to Mike Evans for at least one. I think Baker to Godwin for another. And I'm going to go Cade Otton with a touchdown Monday night. Cade Otton. Okay. Give me a touchdown for Cade Otton. So. All right, Buck fans, we need you in the building. We cannot have this building be an all Eagles building. Don't sell your tickets to the Eagle fans. But Buck fans, we need you out Monday night. Let's don't make this 20,000 Eagle fans saying fly Eagles fly like it was in week 3. Get in the building. It's a playoff game. This team has overachieved. They've given you what you've asked for this year. Nobody thought this team would be a playoff team with the salary cap issues and the roster limitations. So give Jason Light and that front office credit. But it's time to go now. It's go time, do or die time at Raymond James Stadium.
Absolutely. And, we'll be ready to go. We got the post-game show, the Sports Web in collaboration with the JP Peterson Show. Rain or shine. Hopefully it doesn't rain that much because I want to be on the field at the end of the game. We may do some pregame stuff, but most likely post-game show on my Facebook, Peter H. Blake, and, of course, the Sports Web and the JP Peterson Show in collaboration. All subscribe to those on Facebook and YouTube. Get it done.
And check out my Powers on Sports podcast. Full interview with David Moulton about all things in the NFL. We talk Bucks, Eagles. We also talk all head coaching stuff. He gives a great nugget about the San Diego or the LA Chargers coaching job and how the NFL wants them to go big game hunting. And they've kind of made that a point of emphasis to Alex Spanos and many other things. So check that out. YouTube channel, Jason Power Sports channel. All these interviews that we do on the No Quarter Given podcast are on the YouTube channel as well, so you can archive back to see all the previous episodes. So if you haven't already done so, subscribe to this podcast, and we will have another podcast for you, win or lose, next week. Even if they lose, we'll have a wrap-up podcast for you. But I'm anticipating a W. I think we're going to San Francisco next week on Sunday. And also remember, Buck fans, with them playing on Monday night, the Bucks are guaranteed to play on Sunday next week. So there's no chance they'll play on Saturday as part of the way these games get scheduled. A Monday night game guarantees you a Sunday game in the divisional round. So I think we're going to San Francisco next Sunday afternoon, 4:25, probably Fox. That's my hope.
Okay. All right. We'll see what happens.
All right, Buck fans, we'll see you next week. No Quarter Given podcast. Let's get to the divisional round. Here we go. Let's see you next time.
Go Bucks!